From birds, cephalopods and reptiles to big cats and small insects, here are 16 animals that may be mistaken for each other. Number 16. Green snakes. These two species live nowhere near one another, but the emerald tree boa and the green tree python still have more than their coloration in common. That hue helps each species blend into their respective rainforest habitats. For the emerald tree boa, that's in South America, while the green tree python is native to Australia and New Guinea. As juveniles, both of these animals are coloured orange or bright yellow. And as their names indicate, each of these reptiles like to hang out in the trees where they feed on birds. They even have similar sizes, with both animals growing about 6 feet long, 1.8 meters. Experts say the snakes provide a textbook example of convergent evolution. That refers to the phenomenon of different species separately developing similar characteristics. Number 15. African and Asian elephants. While they are two of the largest terrestrial mammals extant today, only one is the largest, and that's the African bush elephant, which weighs more than 13,000 pounds, 6 metric tons, and stands over 13 feet high, 4 meters at the shoulder. The Asian variety weighs around 8,800 pounds, 4 metric tons on average, and stands around 9 feet tall, 2.7 meters. But aside from their size, there are other ways to tell the two pachyderms apart. The Asian species has 2 humps on their heads, while their cousins don't. Their trunks differ in that the African variety has 2 finger-like features to help them grab leaves and branches. Asian elephants have one such feature they use to grab food and squeeze it into their mouths. Even though it would seem otherwise, African and Asian elephants cannot be interbred. Number 14. Hedgehogs and echidnas. Remember when we mentioned convergent evolution? Here's another example. Both of these critters have spines that give them a passing resemblance to each other, but they don't share a common spiny ancestor, so that's basically where the similarity ends. Their spines evolved separately as a defense mechanism. Hedgehogs are omnivores that are found in Asia, Europe and Africa. As for echidnas, they occur throughout Australia and New Guinea. One big difference between the two critters is that echidnas are one of the world's few monotremes, mammals that lay eggs. The only other such animal is the platypus, which is their closest living relative. The closest living relatives of hedgehogs are shrews and moles, but neither critter is related to porcupines, which are rodents. Number 13. Black panthers. This animal is sometimes mistaken as a separate species of feline, but while they are indeed big cats, they're better known as jaguars and leopards. When the animals have an overabundance of dark pigmentation, or melanin, they exhibit that unique, sleek appearance. In the Americas, they're black jaguars, and in Africa and Asia, they're black leopards. Many specimens will exhibit telltale spots in lighter patches of their coats. Number 12. Llamas and alpacas. Both animals are even-toed ungulates from South America that belong to the same family. But the llama is noticeably larger than the alpaca, with adults weighing more than 400 pounds, 181 kilograms, while their cousins weigh around 175 pounds, 79 kilograms or so. But despite the size differential, alpacas produce far more fleece, having been bred over ages to produce more fibre. Llamas are more often used for transport, but the two species can often be seen together since llamas are typically used to guard livestock. Number 11. Canadian lynx and bobcats. Bobcats are a species of North American cat that is known as a predator that's able to adapt to many different habitats. Ranging from Canada to Mexico, it can make itself home in wooded areas as well as semi-desert and swampland environments. More than twice the size of the domestic cat, wild bobcats greatly resemble the Canadian lynx, with which it shares a portion of its range. They look nearly identical, except the lynx is a slightly larger animal. So how do you tell the difference? The lynx usually has shaggy fur around its face and larger, black tufted ears which grow about an inch long, 2.5 centimeters. But the bobcat is known for having a bolder manner and a fierce hunting style. FYI, their common name refers to their tail, which is bobbed or stubby. Number 10. Possums and opossums. Even though the names sound the same and the animals look similar, they're two different species. In North America, they're identified as opossums and are the only marsupials found there. In Australia, they're called possums and are one of many marsupials found down under. How do the Aussie and Yank versions differ? Possums are generally considered less scary looking than their American cousins. Their eyes and ears are larger and they have furry tails. That's in contrast to opossums, which have naked, prehensile tails. Did you know that when Europeans first encountered opossums in North America, they were described as a combination of a pig, a cat, and a rat? Number 9. Penguins and puffins. These birds share similarities, including their black and white colouring and diet of fish. Some penguin species have colourful beaks, like puffins, but the animals belong to different families. A major difference is that penguins can't fly. Their bones are solid, which makes them superior swimmers. Puffins have hollow bones that minimise their flight weight. Flightless birds like penguins have bones that are solid. Puffins also tend to be smaller, at around 15 inches long, 38 centimeters. Emperor penguins can reach heights of 4 feet, 122 centimeters, and weigh close to 100 pounds, or 45 kilograms. Another major difference is where these birds reside. Penguins occur in the southern hemisphere, but puffins live in the northern hemisphere. Number 8. Bees and wasps. Both of them belong to the same order of insects, but there are a few ways to tell them apart. Bees have hairy bodies that are used to collect pollen as they dip into flowers. Wasps tend to be smoother and shiny, with slender legs. Wasps have an hourglass figure, in contrast to the robust bodies of bees, with a narrow waist connecting the thorax and abdomen. They can also be more aggressive than bees when defending their nest. But some bee species, like the African honeybee, are also noted for their aggressiveness in chasing off intruders. A good example of how these insects can get confused lies with yellow jackets. They're sometimes called bees, although they're really wasps. But they can resemble bumblebees, somewhat. Number 7. Seals and sea lions. Both of these animals are classified as fin-footed marine mammals, or pinnipeds. Their fins, or flippers, offer a clue to tell them apart. Seals have fins that are typically shorter, so the animal has to crawl on its belly while on land. Sea lion flippers are strong and flexible, allowing the beast to essentially walk on all fours across the ground. They also have small ear flaps, while seals don't display external ear flaps. The two species have different ways of socializing as well. While seals prefer their solitude, sea lions will form groups of 1,500 individuals and bark at each other. Would you rather chill with the seals or make some noise with the sea lions? Number 6. Bison and buffalo. A clue as to which animal is which lies in their point of origin. Buffaloes are native to Asia and Africa. Bison hail from North America and Europe. The terms are commonly confused in the US because early settlers misnamed the bison due to their resemblance to buffalo. There are distinct physical differences in the species, including the bison's much larger head and shoulders, but their horns are much smaller compared to the huge curling horns of buffaloes. Bison tend to be hairier beasts, while buffaloes have shorter hair that's more suitable for the warmer habitats of Asia and Africa. Number 5. Cougars, mountain lions, and pumas. You've heard of all three animals, but what are the differences between them? That's a trick question, because all of those names refer to the same cat. Within the Western Hemisphere, experts say the cougar has the widest range of any terrestrial animal living in the wild. They can occur from the Canadian Yukon to the southern Andes of South America. They're durable beasts that can adapt to a wide variety of habitats. Thanks to their extensive range, cougars have become known by many different names depending on where they show up. In the US and Canada, they're often called mountain lions. In Spanish-speaking countries, they're known as pumas. Overall, they're known by more than 40 different names, which is a Guinness record. Number 4. Octopi and squid. These cephalopods almost seem like they could be the same animal. To the common eye, their shapes can nearly be indistinguishable. But a key difference involves tentacles. Squid have them, but octopi don't. Both species have 8 arms, which are lined with suckers. Tentacles can have sucker rings or hooks, but only at the tips of the appendage. Squid have 2 specialized tentacles, which are longer than the arms and are used for capturing prey. Another telltale difference are the animal's noggins. Octopi have bulbous, rounded heads, while squid have triangular domes with fins on the sides. Overall, squid tend to live longer and are larger than octopi. Number 3. Leopards and cheetahs. While both of these cats occur primarily in Africa and have a similar appearance, there are ways to tell them apart. Along with leopards being bulkier animals, you can separate them by the patterns on their coats. While looking at them will make you see spots, the animals have different markings. Leopards have rosettes, which are complex clusters of spots that are densely packed. Cheetahs have about 2,000 solid black spots in patterns that are unique to the individual. They can also be distinguished by their unique stripes or tear marks that run from the corners of their eyes. There is one major difference that doesn't involve the markings of these two beasts. Cheetahs are not always regarded as one of the 5 big cats because they occupy a separate genus and can't roar. But they can outrun the others since they're the world's fastest animals on land. Number 2. Thorny devil and desert horned lizard. Both of these reptiles occur in desert environments, but they live half a world away from each other. The thorny devil is found in the scrublands and deserts of Central Australia. The desert horned lizard is native to the western regions of North America. Both of these creatures exhibit spiked exteriors and can camouflage themselves within their surroundings. There are some differences in their behaviours though. The Aussie animal will exhibit a false head to startle predators, and the North American lizard is known to shoot blood from its eye as a means of self-defense. Does one of them look more prickly than the other? Number 1. Seeing double. We started with an epic example of convergent evolution, so we'll end the episode on the same note. One of these birds occurs in Africa, while the other is found in North and South America, but you'd be hard-pressed to tell which one is which. The yellow-throated longclaw shows up in the prairies and grasslands of Africa. Meanwhile, the eastern meadowlark occurs in the Americas. Their behaviour is nearly identical to each other, and so are their markings, yet they're unrelated. But they still look like they were separated at birth. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button and click the bell for notifications for our next exciting episode right here on Epic Wildlife.